Is Baker Mayfield done in Cleveland?
I don't think he's done by any means. And they picked up his 5th-year option.
Yeah.
I don't, I think
I guess the better question is, I mean, what do you do with Baker Mayfield? Because I don't know that there's a number where Baker will, like, let's say
I think you let it here. I think you let it play itself out. If you believe that you either need to see more, because remember, Stefanski hasn't been with him his entire time.
Sure.
So, maybe he wants to see him recover from the surgery on his non-throwing shoulder and see what that looks like. And by the way, like, see what this offense looks like. We saw a portion of it last year without OBJ, but then what it looks like, just a clean slate moving forward with what they have. Because I honestly believe they have maybe one of the best rosters, like top 3 roster in the NFL. Yeah. When you really break it down, when they're healthy, defensively, offensively, everything. There's not many holes. Like, I'm listening to Greasy and Louis Riddick talk about, the defense is banged up. I'm like, what? I'm like, they're missing what? Ronnie Harrison, there's a couple of players. I'm like, who cares? They can match up. They have 1,000 quarterbacks who are like first round, second round picks. Like, they'll be fine. But the truth of the matter is, they have to make that decision now because it's fully guaranteed now. So they own that part of his contract.
He's back in 2022 no matter what.
100%. Well, he's under contract. They picked up the option. It's fully guaranteed now. That's not the question. The question becomes, like, can they upgrade? Could they get a Deshaun Watson? Could they get someone else who they believe is better than him? And then that's how he wouldn't be there. I think he's better than any of the prospects in the draft. He's going to be their best option, I think, as a veteran quarterback, because I don't think a Rodgers or Wilson or Watson will want to go there, even though it's one of the best rosters. It's just the reality of the situation. So I think if we're being honest with ourselves, Kevin Stefanski needs to take a hard look in the mirror, because offensively, whatever you want to say were the mishaps, you can't put it all on Baker. Their offensive line was banged up. The protection wasn't always there. They missed some of their start. Nick Chubb was out for a while. Hunt didn't even play this most recent game. The offense, wasn't flowing when OBJ was there. It's hard to get it going once he's gone and trying to fill that void. So there's a lot of, and it sounds like excuses, but the reality is they're all reasons for what happened this year. So I kind of sit there and just say to myself, okay, let's play this out. Let's see what this next year looks like in order to reevaluate. But if you could get a Deshaun Watson, you go after and you go get it. If you're anyone within the front office for the Browns and you're not asking yourself, can we get better at every single position and let's go out and make those moves, then you're not doing your job. So, I don't think he's done in Cleveland by any means. I think he gets his shoulder cleaned up. He'll come back next year and he'll have a much better year. I mean, if history tells us anything, right? Great rookie year, bad sophomore year. Great third year, down this past year, back up again for this 5th year. So I think that'll be a portion of it. But I think Kevin Stefanski lost a little bit of his luster too.
Oh yeah,
with the play calling this year.
I thought that I thought Baker did the really smart thing coming into this season. Turns out it was not the smart thing. But he said, I don't want to negotiate the contract. There's not a middle ground here where I won't look like a fool, for taking too little money, and where the Browns won't feel mad about it for giving me too much. And they're still in the same spot. Like, if they gave him, like, if you're Baker Mayfield, you can't take less money than Carson Wentz, right?
I mean, that's the hard thing is you could say no, but the reality is, like, how does this play out? He just plays it until he gets to free agency. I mean, he pushes that envelope, because the hard thing he's going to run into is you're getting other quarterbacks who are on rosters that want to move out to some of those quarterback needy teams. And some of those other quarterback needy teams would rather just go to the draft than him. And so, the thing with Cousins is he happened to find that one team. Yeah. I mean, I guess he had two, right? Because the Jets was in it. I mean, the Jets were looking at him, and so were the Vikings. You only have to find two teams to create a market, right?
Yep.
That's the hard thing is, when he times us out, when he would potentially hit free agency, it would be after next year. Well, how does that 2023 class look? Bryce Young will be a part of it. All I know right now is he won a Heisman in his first season starting, and he looks pretty darn good. There's some other quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, I believe, would be draft eligible. I mean, you start going down the list of guys, you're like, wait a second. That actually might not be a good time to come out or be a free agent. So it's all hard. I mean, he eventually has to come to a point where he does the deal that he feels comfortable with, regardless of outside optics, and if it resets the market or is even competitive at some point, because I don't know that Cleveland's going to give him that contract, considering the other quarterbacks that are kind of around him right now. even within that division with like the way Joe Burrow is playing right now.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing too, or two other factors actually, Baker he came out, he was older when he came out. So he's a 26, he will turn 27 this offseason in April. I mean, that's not old, but I mean, that's older for a quarterback who you're giving, a second contract to. And maybe the most important thing, and I talked about this ad nauseum in last offseason, if you look at Kevin Stefanski's offense, and go back and look at, I bring up Kirk Cousins all the time with his statistics. Here, Kirk Cousins, since he got to Minnesota, 606 passing attempts, 444 passing attempts, 516 passing attempts, and 539 passing attempts. See if you can guess which one is Kevin Stefanski. And then you look at Baker. There's 444, obviously. Baker had 486 last year, a really good season, like the best, huge bounce back season, 4,886 completions, 3,563 passing yards, only completed 63% of his passes. But my point is he's not going to get the volume in this offense to warrant being able to say, give me $40 million a year. And so it's kind of a catch-22 there for him.